No.
Keiko's used to get the zoomies. Saba's never been a zoomie cat.
Oh, we have some people saying their thighs are sore.
Oh,
Mine are too. Good evening, everybody.
good evening. Happy
It's
Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday. So today we are discussing food choices. But before we jump into that, we're going to talk about a bit about our weekend
Yeah.
and also catch you guys up on
On what? Mm.
our weekend
Mhm.
and also catching you all up on what has been going on with us for the last 2 days for our commitments.
Definitely.
So first things first, I want to talk about today. So how was your day today, hon?
My
Day
day
two.
my day two was great. Started off this morning with our step class this morning. I went into the office today. So my extra activity that I did that was not step was all the walking that I did because I came from here to the subway. I stood the entire time on the subway. I did not sit. Then I made sure I took all the stairs instead of the escalators. If I had to take an escalator because there was no stairs, I walked up the escalator. I just didn't stand on the escalator. I'm gonna be very honest. And if you do this, I apologize. But if you're a stander on the escalator, can you please stand to the right so I can walk by you? Because I keep moving. I'm a mover, right? So and some people just stand there and it's like, okay. And I hate bugging people. I hate bugging people, but I do. I sometimes say yes. So lo and behold, I did that. I had a great meeting at work with my team, which I don't often get to meet with because I'm an interpreter. So I'm interpreting for other people. So they actually asked me to come in and present what I do as my role, even though there's been an interpreter in place for many years. There's always turnover, right? So one thing I want to explain about this is think of it this way. People don't know what you're doing all the time. People come and go, coming in and out of your life all the time. So having to repeat yourself, don't look at it as a bad thing. Look at it as a good thing, a thing to re-educate people and let people know how you're doing, where you're coming from. So that's what I did. I just explained my role. I came home. It was probably around 2 o'clock. No, maybe a little later. It was actually 2:30, 2:40. And I jumped right back into another meeting because I had another meeting from 4 to 5. I get all my water in today. This is actually yours is behind you.
Oh,
This is actually, I think, my third, maybe going on my fourth
six.
by now.
My sixth.
And it's funny. I know it's only day two, so we're on a really good high right now, right?
Yeah.
So again, but we don't want to lose this feeling. So this feeling of you feeling accomplished right now, bottle it up.
Yeah.
Remember what it feels like. So when you have that little bit of a lull, because it happens for everybody at different stages of the journey, right? And you have a little bit of a lull, remember, I can do this. It's
Yeah.
only
42
40
days.
days. No, it's not even 42
Oh, yeah.
anymore.
40.
It's 40.
Yeah, it's 40
Like
days now.
people, these days keep diminishing, right? And that's why we did it this way as well. By removing the days, it doesn't feel as taxing. We see that there's an end at the light of the tunnel, right?
Exactly. And, we often we did this because we felt that by doing this with the community, all of us could then, support each other, push each other forward in our commitments. So even for me, so my day today, I woke up, did step with Jean-Luc. We did our leg challenge. And for those wondering, yes, I do this. We do this leg challenge at 7 a.m. Every day so far. 7 a.m.
Well,
after
you
step.
do it. I
Yeah.
don't do it. I tried to do it today and I was like, yep, just not for me right now. My head's not into it. I wasn't, yep. Not saying that I won't do it again. I won't try it again, but today was just like, yeah. And I'm glad I didn't because I had to get ready and head off to work anyway.
So then the rest of the day for me was spent on, I worked from home today. I had my lunch, had breakfast. I took my vitamins, which is one of my commitments. I then also went for a walk at lunch. I went live in the Kickstart group to let you guys know that, we are, I did my walk. And so we both are at a point where we have all 10 again today if we go to bed by 10 and if we don't eat after 9, which I think we're going to do. So we love you guys sharing your commitments again in the Facebook group or on the website. It doesn't matter where you share them, but remember to submit the play to win form. So if you go to the dashboard on our website, there is a form called play to win. You click on that form and every day you submit your commitments to indicate what commitments you've achieved throughout the day. We're not expecting everyone to be perfect every day. That's not.
we don't know what your commitments are. Not all of you. And don't trust me, we don't have all of those who posted. We don't have your commitments memorized.
Exactly.
My brain's not that good.
Exactly. And so for us, it's not about you guys doing perfect. It's about you guys tracking. It's about submitting those every day because it almost helps you want to get those check marks. It's almost like a human
It's a
behavior.
challenge almost, right?
It's a human behavior to want to click a list. And that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to create a way for you to be able to click.
I think it's also part of, being growing up. And, when your parents told you to do something, sometimes depending on what it was, you wanted to do it because you want to make sure your mom and dad, you got the praise from mom and dad. But guess who you're getting the praise from this time? Yourself and everybody else in this community. Look at how proud all of you were yesterday when you checked it off and how proud you are today. Even those of you who decided to change some of your commitments, we can't police you. We would recommend you not changing them drastically. But what we come to realize, and we talked about it today in step class for those of you who were in step with us, you might come to realize that maybe your commitments are a little too vague. Maybe they haven't been, you weren't specific enough or Pacific enough, because I'll say it differently for this one. You weren't specific enough on your commitment. I noticed someone said, oh, two of my commitments are almost the same. And I noticed technically, so are two of mine. My eating every meal at home and then not going out to dinner kind of collate. So I could have reworded those two to make them into one commitment. Because if I'm cooking every meal at home, it means I'm not going out to dinner unless it's a pre-planned event. So I know this time that I'm not going to change that. I'm going to keep them separate. But next time, I'll make sure when I make out my commitments, I'm going to go through them again and revise those who might be similar or maybe combine them together. So,
yeah, because some of them, like one of Jean-Luc's commitments, we realized today we could combine them together.
That's what I just said.
Oh, sorry. I'm reading stuff at the same time. So I'm like, I'm half
Don't
listening.
need to repeat me.
Okay. So commitments are going well. So now, today we're talking about food choices. We also want to talk about rustic mamas. You want to talk about that first?
Choices. Yes. Let's talk about Rustic Mama. Rustic Mama was such a fun event this weekend. We had a great time. We got there late on Friday because we both had to work till 4. Actually till 3, 4-ish. And then we got there. What was really fun is these events, a lot of the same women come back to the same retreat yearly, so annually. So on Friday night, it was instead of a lip sync competition this year, it's a talent show. So there were different types of talents out there. And oh my goodness. So this is freaking hilarious. So one of the talent shows, Heather, the host, comes up and says, hi, I'm going to ask Le Poulet Quartet to come up. And I was sitting with Nick and another coworker of ours. Her name's Laura. No, Sarah. It was Sarah. I was like, which one was it? There's too many people. Sarah. And I'm like, I look at them and I said, they're going to be playing Rubber Chickens. And they're like, no, they're not. They had instruments. They had like their violin cases and their trumpet. Well, you all looked at me like I was crazy. And then they were both went, let's do that next time. We can come up with a chicken like quartet, like Rubber Chicken. No lie. 2 seconds later, they open their instruments, they open their cases, and no, they're not facing us. And then all of a sudden, they all pull out rubber freaking chickens and do a Queen song with the rubber chicken. It was phenomenal.
It's recorded.
It's recorded. It's amazing. I have a video of it. And these two, Nick and Sarah, who's a massage therapist, they were like, how did you guess it? I'm like, I don't know. I just had intuition. The Le Poulet Quartet kind of give it away. Le Poulet means chicken. But also, I'm going to give it to my interpreting skills because as interpreters, we learn how to predict things. I know that sounds silly, but we do. We have very good prediction skills. So that was great. I sang for the first time since my tonsillectomy, everybody. I actually got up on stage live and sang for my first time. I was nervous, and I'm going to say it, AF. I was so nervous because I hadn't sung in front of people forever. And it turned out amazing. I was very proud. They stood up. They were all impressed and amazed. I got a standing ovation. What's really funny is none of the Rustic Mama people knew that I can sing either. So Jen, the owner, come running down and said, you're not allowed to go anywhere again, right? You're not leaving us, right? You're sticking around. So it was kind of nice. It felt good that she wants to keep us around just because of my singing, apparently. No, just joking.
And we had a great rest of the weekend. The food was amazing. The food at White Pine, the Rustic Mama White Pine is like to die for.
Homemade pasta, breads, Let's just say I was glad that there was no commitments going on that weekend, because my choices might not have been so good.
Let's just say my Shapewa yesterday said 258. My Shapewa today said 254. It's all the food. That's all the food I ate on the weekend.
And then on Saturday night, every Saturday night during a Rustic Mama, they have.
What we talked though that morning.
Oh yeah, sorry. Saturday morning we taught step class,
And
and then a new thing happened. Everybody, I taught people how to make spring rolls at a Rustic Mama. We had air fryers. We cooked some spring rolls together, and a lot of people loved it.
Yep.
There was even a comment on one of the forums that said their favorite class was the spring roll class. Yeah. So, which is kind of exciting. So I'll probably be doing more cooking at Rustic Mamas, because Jen was very interested in seeing what kind of ideas and what we could bring, because Nick is there too as my sous chef. He cut butternut squash. And so after that Saturday night, we ended up doing it was a disco theme party. So Nick was almost dressed like a Richard Simmons disco guy, because he had a flashy shirt on, but
I refused
really
to wear
short
pants.
shorts. He's like, it's way too hot.
I refused to wear pants.
And we lucked out. We had such a beautiful, warm weekend. It was fantastic. I had
a theory on that though.
I was a hippie turned disco. I wasn't actually a hippie turned disco. I had a great time there. And then on Sunday morning, it was just a regular Sunday morning. We walked around. We met more people.
We had poutine for lunch.
Few funny stories though. One these ladies that we knew, that we don't know, we met there. They were from Huntsville, and we're like, oh, I have a friend in Huntsville, and Huntsville's like this big, right? And they're like, oh, really? I said, yeah, I can't wait. For some dumb reason, his name wasn't coming to me. And I said, he's the music teacher. And she goes, Mr. Frank. And we're like, yeah, we know Mr. Frank. We know Mr. Frank. We've known him for years. Then same thing happens. There's a space called the employee lounge, which is staff lounge, which is a beautiful deck facing the water. And there's say the word
Adirondack.
That word, chairs, because I can't say it. Never say it right. Never comes out right. So they had the chairs, and we're sitting there, and these ladies were like, we had met them a few times. They're a group, and they go by the Cooters. I don't know why. Didn't ask what their name stands for, but they go by the Cooters. And so they end up telling me they're from Manitoulin Island. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh, that's cool. I said, I have a cousin who lives on Manitoulin Island. I said, her last name used to be this, but it's changed to her married name, this. And they went, Manik? And I'm like, yeah. They're like, we work with her. We work together. And I'm like, of course, wherever Jean-Luc goes, he ends up finding someone he knows. Oh my God, that's a poem.
I'm rolling my eyes.
Yeah, it was hilarious. They were like, oh my God. So we took a picture together.
You were also recognized today at work.
Then I was recognized, not even
twice. Someone messaged us on page saying, I think I saw Nick at the path today, but it was you.
That was me.
Yeah, so someone saw Jean-Luc in the path today.
And this morning, as I'm walking to the subway, I'm walking right in front of Canadian Tire, crossing the street. A lady literally opens up her window and goes, I remember you from WW. And I was like, hi, good morning. Have a nice day. So it's funny. These little things always make me smile.
The cats are doing great. For those of you wondering out there, there's people saying, how's Saba doing? He's doing good. He's improving. He's slowly being nicer to the little ones. We found out that Peru is very princessy. She's very petite and very
prissy.
Prissy. That's the word, prissy. And Maui is a boy. He's a boy. Let's just say he runs everywhere, on top of everything. He doesn't take his time. He topples everywhere. He's very clumsy with his limbs. But he's slowly, like I said in my live today,
I only got to find one.
He's slowly taking on some of Keikos's traits. And today, like I said on my walk, he put his paw on Keikos's frame today. He slept beside Keikos's frame today, and I cried about it. Because I see in him a lot of Keiko's qualities,
except for this. Keikos would never allowed us to hold him like this.
That's ever. A better quality this there.
Even it's insane.
And then his sister's just,
she's the same.
She's the same. She just purrs a lot. Her name was right. Peru is the right name for Peru because she purrs like there's no tomorrow.
I talked on the phone with my sister when I got home from work for a few minutes, and I literally laid on my bed, and I had my legs in a number 4, crossed. Peru came and plopped herself right in the middle of my legs. And Meowie came to the other edge and put his paw on my leg. And then I'm like, okay, I can't move now. I'm stuck. So enough about that.
Now, let's move on to food choices. So you'll see a lot of topics that we're doing for Kickstart. It's not topics that are, specific. We're doing a lot of grand topics because we're not here to tell you what to do. We're
Nope.
not here to tell you what you need to do on your journey.
Nope.
We're just here to give you some tips and tricks. I mix the two words together.
Things that we have done in the past that have helped us and led us to success.
Exactly.
And maybe these are things you've done yourself, but
yeah. So food choices. Why are we talking about this? Because we always have a choice. And that's what the main message today with this session is about, is that we always have a choice. We might not always feel like we want to do and pick the right choice, but oftentimes it's better for us to do the right choice in any situation. So one of the first things we'll talk about is, let's start with just regular home life. We'll not talk about going out yet. We'll talk about home life. So the first thing you want to do when you're doing your home meals is, first of all, you have to have food in the fridge.
that's very important.
Number one, because I know this is silly, but how many of us do not have the right food in our fridge? How many of us do not go to the grocery store and buy the right things for our fridge? And remember, grocery store, what aisle do you want to visit to get the healthy stuff?
Always on the perimeters.
Perimeters.
Perimeters are the aisles or the sections of your grocery store that has the healthiest portions of food. Why?
Not the aisles. The outskirts.
That's what I said. The
You said the
perimeters.
aisles.
I didn't mean to.
Yeah.
Well, the perimeters of the store are the areas that have the most healthiest food. Produce section, for example, all produce, all in one area. That's on one section. Your frozen food section, again, do not think because fruits and vegetables are frozen that they're not healthy for you.
No.
It doesn't mean you can't have frozen fruits or vegetables. Eat as many of those as you want. Most of them actually are better thawed because they are picked at their prime ripeness. So when you actually thaw them, they're just as good as if you had them fresh.
When you do your groceries, make sure you bring a list.
Yes.
Because again, food choices start at the store. Do not start at home.
Well, even before that, never go to the grocery store hungry. If you go shopping when you're hungry, what gets put into your basket? Everything but what you actually need. Chips, cheese, all that easy access grab stuff. And none of that is because you're starving. So of course you're thinking, oh my God, if I grab this, I'll put it in my basket and I can eat it on the way home. Or when I get home, I'll just have that instead of making something for myself that's healthier.
So make sure you create yourself a list. Make sure you follow the list. Because another thing, like Jean-Luc said, is don't go to the store, then start, picking stuff that is not on your list. Because again, you're building this list to be a healthy food list. And healthy can mean different things for everyone. I'm not going to preach anything. We're not going to preach anything to anyone today. We're not going to tell you guys, don't eat this, don't eat that. We're just trying to talk to you about the general knowledge that we have about foods.
Well, when you're talking about fruits and vegetables, we've all heard this before. It's said at multiple different places. Eat the rainbow. Find as many fruits and vegetables that you can possibly eat that match the colors of the rainbow, because the more you eat those, the more satisfied you are, the fuller you are, and the healthier it is for you.
Charlotte just shared in chat. She uses PC
Love
Express
that.
or Walmart delivery because she does not want to be tempted by the foods at the store. So she gets her store made. She picks up their stuff in her cart and she just picks up the order, so she's not tempted by anything in the store.
And another option, if you're somebody else was saying, I can't remember if it was on Sunday, someone mentioned that they use either HelloFresh or one of those meal prep companies that sends them prepackaged fresh vegetables, meals, and things like that, and they follow the recipe. That's another option if that's something that fits within your budget, is within your means. If you're a single person and it's easier for you to do that, there's nothing wrong with doing that either.
And also said that she meal plans every Sunday and on Sunday night and for the week, and she makes a grocery list based on that meal plan.
That is fantastic. That's
an
actually really smart way. That way you never go home without with something missing. You never like, oh, darn it, I was making this and I didn't bring it home with me. I'm making a tuna casserole and I have no tuna.
And someone else said, and I can't see who it is, it says iPhone, but they said that they are going out of their comfort zone and trying new vegetables she's never had before every week. So
that's awesome. Maybe a commitment.
Yeah.
I remember reading a commitment like that on somebody's page.
So that could be a commitment for someone. So again, it always starts at the store. And we're really, really emphasizing this because, again, your choices will drive the rest of your week. If you don't start with a good base, if you're building a house and you don't put the basement in correctly, your house will topple. It's the same thing with food. If you don't bring the food you want into your fridge, you won't build a solid base for
It's
yourself.
your
For the week.
foundation, right? It's the foundation of where all your meals stem from is what you have available to you.
Exactly. So now you're home. You've brought the groceries home. So now we're right back home again. What do you do when you get home? Throw everything in the fridge and not forget about it? No. One of the main tips we want to share with you guys, prepare your vegetables. If it means just taking it out of the package it comes in and putting it in a container, if it means just washing some of them ahead of time because you know you're going to use them at random spots, like grapes is a good example of things you can wash ahead of time.
And well, even strawberries, I've heard, I haven't tried it, but I heard storing your strawberries in a mason jar or your berries in a mason jar is fantastic. It keeps them fresh even longer. You can wash them, dry them, and then put them in a mason jar with a paper towel in order for them to absorb the moisture and make your berries last for more than a week, in a sense, right?
And make sure you use your organization in your fridge smartly. So we've shared this in the past, how we organize our fridge. We have clear containers. We have containers that utilize the maximum amount of space in our fridge, so we're not wasting any space. I'm a Tetris guru, so I play Tetris in the fridge all the time to make sure there's as much stuff in there as possible.
And there are great hacks out there. Someone mentioned in the chat, Patricia mentioned, putting your celery in tinfoil. It makes your celery never go limp. It actually keeps it nice and fresh and crispy for a long time. I've had Nick doesn't eat celery. I've had celery in tinfoil for weeks and it was still fresh. Another thing too, for those of you who might want to try something new, there are TikTokers out there that are making salad bars in their fridge with their crisper drawer, where they're actually splitting it up, where salad's already cut up for them, all the toppings they want. And then they're having their families create their own salad, but the salad is all in a crisper. It's ready to go. What a cool idea.
Lettuce also works in foil.
Oh, lettuce in foil. Oh,
lettuce
good to know, Joyce.
Lettuce doesn't last long.
Lettuce, no, it doesn't. Sometimes it does, but
most of the time it doesn't last long.
It doesn't. But look for these tips. Look for these tricks in order to help you make things work for you. And then that way, you know what? You're not saying, oh, it's so expensive to eat healthy because you know what? By the time I get the fruits and vegetables into my house and I go to eat them, half of it's spoiled anyways. Well, maybe what happens is a lot of times is they're pushed back at the back of the fridge. They're not easily seen or accessible. So you don't have a choice because your choice is not in front of you, right? We're all creatures of habits. And if we keep the same habits, who posted that? Someone posted that. I think it was Darcy posted something about creatures of habits. If you think you're going to change your habits by keeping the same habits, nothing's going to change.
So something else that would you do when you get home is you have to, so you put your vegetables, you prep them, you put them away. You have to make sure now that you're planning your meals for the week, look at what you bought. And I'm saying this because asparagus spoils quicker than broccoli.
Yeah.
You know, some vegetables don't last as long. So if you don't eat them right away, you'll end up just throwing them out. So there's lots of vegetables and fruits, for example, berries will last less long than grapes or pineapple or apples. So if you bought all those fruit, make sure you concentrate on eating the strawberries, the berries in the beginning of the week so that you're using them right away. And someone said in chat, when I do this, when I do my grocery list, it saves me money because I'm keeping on a budget. Well, you don't want to throw money away. If you're buying asparagus and by Friday you haven't eaten it yet and you take it out of the fridge, you bought it on Sunday, and so now it's all slimy and gross, you just wasted that asparagus. And so why do that? Jean-Luc is the beginning of the week. One of the first things he always has
is my asparagus.
Is this asparagus.
I'll split it into 2 meals. I'll have it as soon as we get it, like within the first couple of days, and then I'll have it within the third or fourth day again because he doesn't eat asparagus, so I can't eat a whole bunch. And I don't want to cook it all of it, because if I cook all of it, then the following day, the warmed up asparagus again is just not the same.
I don't hate asparagus. I'll just eat it if I have to.
There was a comment, and I want to make sure everybody in Zoom knows this. There's a comment about the avocado in the water. I want to come back and say, you know what? Please do research on that because there was some controversy on TikTok when it was there. Who knows? But some people are saying it's not good to do that. It worked for me. It actually works. So keep an eye out, go read and make sure you educate yourself on that. I haven't done it in a while because I haven't bought avocado in a while.
Oh, you can also buy a frozen avocado.
You can chunk the frozen avocado.
Check your freezer section.
And then if you're, especially if you're making like avocado toast or guacamole and you want to make a small amount,
You can pull out the
You
amount.
pull out the amount you need, you mash up what you need, and that's all you use, right?
So now you've prepped your vegetables, you're eating them in the right order.
Mhm.
So now it's time to make your meals. What happens when time to make your meals? Okay, so it's Friday, it's Monday night. You had a whole busy day. You show up at home, nothing's prepped. It's 7 p.m. You have to eat dinner.
Before 8.
Is that planning correctly? Is that making good choices? Sometimes it happens. I'm not gonna say it's not gonna happen, but we can always do things to prepare ahead of time for our meals.
And I think the funny part is we told you that the night's topic was food choices, right? Well, look at how many choices you already had to make before you even got to pick what you're going to eat or cook what you're going to eat, right?
So remember, so now that you have the food with you, so now you're about to make dinner. It's 7 p.m. So what are the things you should have done before that 7 p.m. Monday night? Maybe on Sunday, prep something. And as you all know, we are not meal preppers. So many of you are, which we commend all you to be able to do that because that's an amazing skill to have. We are not meal planners.
Well,
so
I've been planning more than I've ever planned before.
But we are technically not meal planners.
I'm not, but I'm trying.
Yeah, he's trying.
I'm trying.
But what that means is that we also there's ways you can prep staples. You can prep things in your fridge. For example, you can pre-cook some chicken. You can have some cut lettuce ready for you for salads. You can have some things pre-made for you so that when you get home that at night and you're hungry at 7 p.m., you either have a meal frozen in your freezer ready for you, or you have something in the fridge that's pre-ready, almost ready for you that you just have to warm up for yourself.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Oh, it's always great. And I know, we're not we're leftover people, but we're not at the same time. But I have been lately. Why? Because I want to eat my 3 meals a day. So what am I doing is I'm making a little bit extra. So I have a lunch already prepped for me the next day. It's already ready for me to go. So that's another choice for you to make. If I want to have, and you don't even have to eat it the next day. You can eat it in 2 days. So you're not eating the same thing back to back because some people don't like having the same meal back to back. I've gotten accustomed to it.
I can do it every day. I can eat chicken every meal. I can have protein every meal. Doesn't bother me. I'm okay with eating the same thing. I can have cheese every meal. If cheese was a weight loss solution, oh my God, I have no issues eating cheese every day. I'd be right on that.
Do you not think all of us with chips and chocolate would be the same?
Yeah, I know.
But another thing I was going to say as far as meal prepping, if you're like me and you can't prep ahead, prep a day at a time. So the day before you cook. So on Sunday, make sure you have an idea of what you want to make on Monday. On Monday, make sure you have an idea of what you want to do on Tuesday. So that way, it's not like you're pre-planning your meal, but you're going to say, okay, I'm going to have chicken tomorrow, or I'm going to have roast beef, or I'm going to have this. So you know what? You take it out of the freezer because nothing worse than saying, oh, I'm going to have roast beef. I'm going to have roast beef. And you get home and you're like, oh yeah, the beef is frozen. How am I going to have roast beef?
Where's the beef?
Where's the beef?
Exactly. So now you're having your meal. Again, choices occur while you're making your meals. So for example, Jean-Luc and I are not vegetarian. We're not vegan in any way, but we have introduced plant-based meals in our life. Why?
More than I ever thought I would.
Why? Because as much as we love chicken and turkey, we can't have it every day. It's not that we're saying it's not good for us. It's just that we like tofu now. And so it's become part of our lives. So we enjoy having it now. So if you've had tofu and it's something you enjoy, have it. Or kefir or kefir. Is that the other one? Tempeh.
I was like,
that's the one.
A kefir is something completely different. That's how you
a yogurt, I think.
Yeah, I think I don't even know, but it's not tofu.
Yeah. So tofu. So if you can incorporate more vegetables in your meal, that's a good choice. Another thing you can do, and we've talked about this, is sometimes meals we used to eat before we were trying to improve our food choices may have been, a full plate of pasta. I always use that example because that's what Nick used to do. I would just have a bowl of pasta with cheese on it and garlic bread. That would be my regular meal. No veggies, nothing in there, just pasta with various different cheeses in there if I could possibly, and it wasn't just any cheese. I would dump the whole kitchen sink in there when I was making my pasta. So nothing healthy. So what have we done to curve that is pasta's a side for us now. It's never a main course. It's not been a main course for years. And the only time it's not a main course is when we're not doing good food choices.
Like when we're not like
the last few months.
We had pasta last night for dinner and it was and I brought my plates out just to show you. This is our side of this is a plate. How do you think you should split it? Pasta and then a little bit of veggies? No. What we do is we make our pasta, we actually add veggies to our pasta, then we have a side of veggies with it,
Yeah.
right? What's wrong with that?
And right now, corn is
It's
amazing.
delicious still
It's
here.
so good right now. So please get yourself some cobs of corn. We had some for dinner tonight.
So think about the choose again. Another choice is when you're ready to serve your meal, choose the plate that works for you, right? The bigger the plate, the more food you can put on it, right? So maybe shrink your plate. I'm not saying to bring like a teacup, a tea saucer for your plate.
We will show you guys.
Have different sizes.
Look, you guys see a size difference in these two bowls? So we bought new bowls to do the same thing on our end.
These look the same, but they're not.
They're not. See?
They're actually smaller than
the other one.
Yeah.
So we bought new bowls that were smaller because we felt that these bowls were too big for some of our meals.
And we also don't eat on regular plates, as you see. We eat in a low, shallow, flat bowl, right? Because first the thing, we don't have a dining room table. We sit on the couch to eat because we're at our dining room table right now because this is my office. It's our Jean-Luc and Nick kickstart.
If we had to take this down every night, put it back up, I would be like, no, thank you.
I wouldn't be able to do it.
I quit.
So having this is it allows food not to fall off the plate and it shrinks the plate because you can't put food around the edge, right? Little things like that.
I tried. It doesn't fit.
It doesn't fit.
So that's another choice you have to make. The meal, how you're going to place and create your meal. So then comes, what do you do for choices in other types of meals? So for example, breakfast meals. Breakfast is a specific one because food choices in breakfast affect you the entire day. Make sure for breakfast, you're eating something that's going to fuel you for the day. We're not going to say exactly what, but we have a lot of fruit and granola for breakfast all the time because it's something that's healthy for us and that'll help you really kickstart your day.
And another thing to keep into consideration, I know someone just asked, where do you find the small bowl plates? Amazon. We'll put them in our store, and that way you could check them out on the shop. There's different ones. I bought the rainbow ones because I thought they were fun and colorful.
It helps with pictures for
and it's really pretty with pictures. It helps if you take pictures and make your plates pretty. I know that sounds funny, but it is a choice. If you want to have a fancy dinner one night, take out your fancy dishes. Not like we don't have enough dishes, right? Take out your fancy dishes. Okay, this is not a bowl. It doesn't mean I have to fill it up.
Wedding China.
But it's still a way of knowing that and making yourself feel good when you're eating.
So wedding China, it took 5 years after we got married to buy because we couldn't agree on the types of dishes we wanted.
Another thing too, food is not just a choice, but what are you drinking? Doesn't mean you always have to drink your water in a Yeti. Why not serve it in a nice wine glass instead one night, just with dinner? Change it up a little bit. Make yourself feel special because guess what? We are all special and we need to have those moments from time to time because if you're always just drinking out of this, it gets monotonous.
So that covers breakfast, dinners, lunch is the same thing. So lunch, again, make good choices. And I think the best scenario for lunch would be I'm going to work tomorrow and I'm not bringing a lunch with me. Mm-hmm. I know a lot of us suffer from that symptom sometimes. And that's, again, another choice you're making yourself. Mind you, there are healthy choices out there. So say you want to have a healthy lunch. There's places like Subway, Freshie, Pita Pit. You know, there's places you can go.
Burritos.
Burritos. There's many places you can go to get healthy meals. But remember, the healthiest meal is the one you make at home.
Well, yeah. Unless you're going to a place where you're having a salad that you get to pick your own toppings. Because guess where all the calories come from, everybody? We all know. It's not the lettuce, the cucumber, the tomatoes. It's not. It's the dressings and the sauces we add to it.
Or the cheese.
That's where those calories come from. And when you make good choices, you feel good about yourself, right? You feel proud about yourself. It's like checking that commitment box, right? That pride comes in when you're like, look at me. I went out for lunch today and I picked the grilled chicken with a side of broccoli, right?
But remember, choices also start before. So people have said in chat, I make extra for the following day. Mm-hmm. Jean-Luc is big we do this all the time now.
Never did back in the day.
For a long time, we never did this. We always made a wrap or a salad for lunch. Nope. And we never took leftovers. So now what we do is we make a plate at night. We don't Make a mountain. It's level plate. We're not mountaining it up,
We
people.
are somewhat measuring, but not exactly yet. That was not part of their commitments this time, but maybe it is a commitment I need to make where I bring out measuring spoons. I'm going to see if what we've done so far is allowing me to make good choices and still not starve ourselves, but still have a good enough portion to feel satisfied at the end of a meal. And again, did you hear the word that I used? Satisfied, not full, satisfied, where I can
Some of
actually
you can do that. I can't.
Nick has a hard time with that. He struggles with that. You always cut yourself off. I have to
Okay.
move you. It's not for these people. They're sitting, but I'm not talking. You're the one talking more than me.
So the next thing I want to talk about now. So now we've touched upon lunch, tips and tricks for lunch. Something else now we have to look at in snacks, snacking, because this is where most of us have our downfall. Why? Because most of us think, I'm not going to snack, so I'm not going to buy anything to snack on. But then 4 o'clock hits and you're hungry and there's nothing around. So what do you do on the way home from work? You stop at McDonald's, like someone said in chat. You stop at Dairy Queen to get an ice cream, Starbucks, any of those places, and you won't have something already ready for you to snack on. What do we suggest?
So think ahead. What can you have in your car that won't spoil, but that can really satisfy you? Nuts. Nuts.
Why are you calling me nuts?
Because you are. Have nuts in your car. Have a container of granola easily accessible to you. So it's something you can quickly pop in your mouth.
Yeah.
And when I say granola, I'm not saying like the high sugar content granola. Make sure that it's one that's healthier, on that healthier side, right? Or you make it yourself. There are pre-bought granola bars that you could buy, but again, be smart with the choices you make.
There's actually a granola recipe that Jean-Luc made.
Mhm.
I don't know if it's on the website.
Granola
yet.
bars are not on the website.
So we'll get that up soon. But Jean-Luc has made homemade granola bars, and he has a recipe for that. So once it's up, you guys can actually go look how you can make your own healthy granola bars with ingredients that you get from your own home. Again, we are Jean-Luc and I are big proponents of making stuff homemade.
We love homemade food.
When we lost our weight in 2018, the biggest change Jean-Luc and I made was we switched from processed pre-made products to making them homemade ourselves. That was the biggest switch we did. So if you're someone who's used to buying pre-packaged, meals or things that are come in a package that's already been created for you, it's not that it's unhealthy for you. Is that even the healthy ones usually have added sodium, added preservatives, and those tend not to be healthy for your bodies. So that's why we're big proponents of making things ourselves. And not just that, he's good at it. So it works for me.
Another thing I want to say is I don't want anyone to think, because I know you guys are like, well, aren't they the 80-20 guys? Because we still are 80-20. But right now, we are basically focused 100% doing our best to focus on that, at least achieving our 80%.
We're testing Kickstart along with you.
Yeah.
we're seeing if it works for us, right?
We are. Sure. Hey, what did we tell you guys that we struggled with the most when it came to WW? Tracking, right? What are we doing every day right now? Easy tracking, but it's still tracking.
We're making you track your commitments.
But it's tracking what we want to track. And we don't feel like we're being, I don't know. It's so hard to explain.
I explained it on Sunday. When you tell someone, hey, Debbie, yeah, you, Debbie, right there watching. From now on, you're going to have to do this every day for 40 days. You're going to have to walk outside 5 minutes. Debbie's going to turn around like, I ain't going outside walking 5 minutes every day. You crazy?
If there's a Debbie in the room.
I was looking at her right now.
Poor Debbie.
Yes. So I was looking at her right now. That's how I got the name.
Don't feel guilty, Debbie.
So I'm just saying, that's the thing, right? The reason we created Kickstart is because there's no way I can sit here and tell all of you what you need to do to lose weight or to change your life or to improve your career or to clean out your closet. I can give you ideas, but if I tell you to do something, 90% of the time as humans, we put our backs up. Think about it. A lot of you are mothers in here, and my mom's here too tonight. When I give my mom suggestions, she tends to not listen to me. Like today, I got an email saying my mom submitted her commitments.
We almost
were shocked.
We almost all fell off our chairs.
Yeah, the cats and us. We almost fell off our chairs because my mom was totally against submitting commitments.
She was
totally against it because, again, I was telling her to do something. I had to just back off and let her make her own decision.
But I think what helped her was the fact that she has two really phenomenal accountability friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's three. So there's a group of four of you now. Wow. Wow. So there's somebody else that was added. So there's four people that are working together and they've changed her perception. But isn't it funny that they can change her perception, but we couldn't?
I
So
can't tell my mom to do anything.
sometimes you who are thinking of your husbands and you're trying to get your husbands to follow along, maybe you need somebody else to talk to your husbands about what you're doing and not you doing it. It might work.
But the thing is, most humans, when you're told to do something, look at speed limits. You can only go to 90. Who really follows 90? Well, I know I don't. And I can see some of you probably don't out there either.
I've got the solution, everybody. Secretly put an earpiece in your husband's ears and have them listen to this session as they're sleeping. Yes. Hello. Follow what your wife is doing. You that's Chandler. That's Chandler. That's Chandler trying to quit smoking.
So again, all this discussion tonight is all about choices. We're not going to tell you what to do during Kickstart. We're not going to tell you your commitments are wrong, they're right. We're not going to say you're doing, all we're going to say is, oh, you submitted it, good job. That's all we're going to say. We're going to encourage you to follow them every day. We're going to encourage you to do all 10 every day as much as you can. But we're not going to tell you if you're doing right or wrong, if you're doing the right thing. We're not going to be there to do that.
You know why? Because you are.
We all know what to do.
You know it. You know when you've done something that you're like, and I don't want to say it's right or wrong, because nothing you do is technically wrong. I mean, it's just maybe not the best choice.
I mean, how many of us are having sometimes a piece of pizza and your mind going, I should have had the salad, right? How many of us have had that moment where we're putting something in our mouth and said, maybe I should order the salad instead? We all have those moments, and it's okay to have those moments. We are human.
Get out of the idea that you can only eat salad too, because we don't want that to be the only thing on your plate. Please make sure you add other things. This is not a lettuce diet. No, we're not on a diet right now, everybody. No, we are just trying to create
better habits
by committing to ourselves.
I love that. So Kelly's husband was voluntold for a movie time once a week, so he still doesn't know how he got roped into that.
Hey, if you marry somebody, you're stuck. What? Why are you pointing at me?
If you're married to someone, you're stuck.
Feelings mutual, buddy.
So I hope you guys enjoyed the conversation today. We'll end the live feed now, and we'll stay in Zoom a few seconds. We'll give you the word of the day. But live feed, YouTube and Facebook and
TikTok. Have a great evening. Everybody at Zoom, stick around, please. Yes. Oh my God, Lynn. Our video. Do you remember the video that went viral?
We're not.
No, that's okay. Well, we weren't.